There's Ethereum, there are ICOs, there are cryptocurrencies everywhere. It's creating something out of nothing.
Government and Ministry of Finance and Ministry of IT, along with RBI and SEBI, they are trying to see as to what needs to be done.
Buy or sell a Bitcoin. If you bet to buy or sell a Bitcoin, if you or bet anything where I'm going to put you in jail, it's over.
So those were the big voices on the cryptocurrency craze, and well, it has indeed been the year of cryptocurrencies. From Bitcoins to Ripple, the return that the investors have seen has been astronomical, putting some of the investing options to shame. Before we speak about the mind-boggling numbers, let's have a recap of what these currencies have done so far in 2017. Well, all the cryptocurrencies is a result of someone using blockchain. To transact, a group of miners create something called a chain, and transaction records within a chain is called a block. Now, these blocks are assigned to a specific user. Global IT majors like Microsoft, IBM already are applying blockchain technology in their ecosystems. From a blockchain emerges a cryptocurrency, and what is that? It is a medium of exchange of items that uses cryptography. Now, the characteristics of a cryptocurrency is that it does not follow any rules of any central bank or a government and is designed to gradually decrease its production. The legality of these currencies, of course, differs from country to country. Amongst them, too, there are some who are popular with the cryptocurrency fact and some which have given mind-boggling returns, but have to stand under the radar. If you look at the Bitcoin, the most popular currency was created in 2009 and over the years has grabbed headlines for its acceptability at various outlets. But 2017 has completely belonged to it. Globally, Bitcoin became one of the most traded currency, and the investors got another shot in the arm when CBOE and CME started their futures market this month. Now let's take a look at how the cryptocurrencies have performed in this year. While Bitcoins have given you a 1,200% return from the kind of correction that we already have seen, some of the other cryptocurrencies have actually outperformed it. If you look at IOTA, that has given you a 500% return. Monero has given you over 2,300% return. Litecoin, of course, is 5,600% on the higher side in this year. And Ethereum gave a mind-boggling return of almost 8,000%. And you can only look at Ripple with an 15,000% return. And yes, you've heard it right. 15,000% return in just 2017 is what we have seen that perform. Now let's look at the market cap of these cryptocurrencies, and that also has seen a huge run-up. Bitcoin, of course, leads with a $231 billion market cap, while it is followed by Ethereum and Ripple at a second and third place. Interesting fact is that Bitcoin's market cap is almost 4 times that of Ethereum. So Ethereum, of course, is a very bad second when you look at those numbers. Another important question is that everyone is asking is that, are these currencies legal? What if these currencies turn into worthless with one swift action of a government? Well, if you look at Japan, South Korea and Vietnam, they account for nearly 80% of Bitcoin trading. While China has banned Bitcoin trading, Japan also allows people to transact in Bitcoin. India, on the other side, has not taken any action against Bitcoin so far, but RBI has time and again put out disclaimers talking about the risks of trading in Bitcoin. Australia has called Bitcoin a speculative mania so far. But all is not as hunky-dory as it seems. Reports suggest that 1,000 people own 40% of Bitcoin market. Deutsche Bank says that crash in Bitcoin prices is among the top risks in broader market in 2018. These currencies face losses arising out of hacking and loss of passwords, and the most important of them all, they do not have any underlying assets. Well, that's all that A to Z of the Bitcoins and the cryptocurrencies. And 2017, of course, as I said, clearly belonged to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, which have by far given you the highest returns if you invested into them in this year. But what does the year mean, and how is 2018 now looking at? For that, we are now joined by various experts. Vishal Gupta is CEO of SearchTrade. Praveen Kumar is CEO Belfrix, and Ajit Khurana is an angel investor, and he also looks very closely in case of the technology. Vishal, I want to start with you, and we have been talking a lot really on the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies since the year started. With the kind of returns that we have seen, what is your sense? What are the concerns right now? Is it really becoming frothy, a bubble, with the kind of volatile moves that we are seeing here?
So Bitcoin right now, I think we are in a situation where it's slightly overbought. So we might still see, the ideal price range that Bitcoin should have been operating within is $10,000 to $11,000. But I think we saw the market, buy itself further out and touch $20,000. Now what we're seeing right now is profit taking by various investors, and you'll see this trend continue. And I think we're going to see a choppy ride with Bitcoin over the next 3 months.
Praveen, what is your sense when it comes to prices? How would you call it? Because various countries, even the ones who are trading in Bitcoins, their finance ministers and ministers have come out with a warning.
Yeah, for sure, because it carries an element of risk. Money laundering is quite rampant in this particular industry. So I think the action taken by the central banks are good enough. There should be more of control coming into these cryptocurrencies in terms of identifying the end-to-end party. So as long as that is not there, these volatilities are going to be there, for sure.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Yeah. The first word from you as well, Ajit, on what's your sense on the prices of it? Because what a return is what this year has given us, 8,000, 15,000%.
So here's the thing. I've been an investor in various asset classes, stock market, mutual fund, derivatives, real estate, etc. My take tends to not be price-driven, but event-driven. Okay. I started buying Bitcoin towards the later part of 2016, around 40,000 rupees per coin. Okay. The last I bought was around 2 lakhs. Today I had orders at 6 lakh, 7 lakh and 8 lakh. None of them got triggered, though some of my friends managed to catch the 8 lakh because I came in a little late. I think that price, frankly, varies by the mania, as you called it, which does not mean that the underlying asset is stupid. That's the important part. I think that I'm waiting for a time where Bitcoin acceptability is more, participation is more, market depth is more. My suspicion is that that price at that point, which might take a couple of years, will be dramatically higher than today. So individual day-to-day variations just don't matter.
But really, what are the concerns, Vishal? I mean, because some of the bankers have come out and said that if there is a outfall from the cryptocurrency market with the kind of participation that we have seen come in from retails, HNI, even Amitabh Bachchan is invested into that. So if there is a problem, will it spread to broader financial markets here?
I mean, the size and scale of the market is just way too small when you look at the larger picture. Okay. So, I mean, it wouldn't really affect it's not on the economic scale just as yet. That said, markets do realign themselves every now and then, and the concern on the investor side should always be that they're investing risk capital. So Bitcoin is not something where you're looking to make safe investments. So you've got savings of lifetime, you're definitely not looking to put that money into your Bitcoin investment. So maybe Bitcoin should not constitute more than 5 or 10% of your portfolio at this point. And when you do invest in Bitcoin, you should consider the risk factors involved with it.
Praveen, I want to talk to you about the Indian markets first of all. Of course, the Indian regulator, the RBI that is, has time and again warned of it. They haven't banned it. I mean, they still are watching it. And all that they're trying to do right now is collect data, etc. Yeah. Indian markets are still very small as compared to other international markets, even Asia for that matter. Yeah. But if I was an investor, what would you advise me on? What should I be looking at before I go and park my money here?
I feel so that the regulators are not ready to regulate this particular market at this point in time because, as I said, end-to-end identification is quite difficult with the technology what we are having. We're all working on the technology to identify these parties. So it's too early for RBI to currently regulate it. So I feel so that it might be on the negative side.
So I think primarily the issue is there is lack of understanding on part of government of how the commodity works. So because there are so many layers to Bitcoin.
We are calling it a commodity.
Yes. For us, for me at least, I mean, right now at this point, Bitcoin has become a commodity. Sure. I mean, the cost of transaction is $18 to $25. So, I mean, it's not a currency anymore. So, but what we are seeing essentially is a development of an ecosystem which is blockchain-driven, consensus-driven. So, Bitcoin represents the fundamental value, and you have all these alternate currencies with alternate platforms which are offering different values, and you see an ecosystem developing around it. So, I mean, it's still an evolution. So, I think governments will take time to understand this phenomena, how the taxation and the regulations and enforcement. So, a lot of challenges, and I think it's a market still in development. So, I don't foresee how governments can make a conclusive, conclusion how to regulate this thing.
I don't think the point was to regulate it. I'm coming to Ajit, but I have a question for you. You know, when it started in 2009, it was supposed to be an experimental currency. Suddenly it's becoming or has become an investment vehicle. How do you see that transition? When did that happen? And the kind of mania that we are living in right now, how do you see that?
Three parts. First, I don't think it was ever officially an experimental currency. It was experimental for other people who are buying into it, not by the person/people who created it. I think that the reason governments are shying away from taking a stand is not at all because they don't understand it. I don't think it's that complex to understand. I think it is because they would have to take a view on something they cannot control, which is very difficult. Like suppose they say, this is how you do things. Connect your Aadhaar card to your Bitcoin wallet, for instance, right? Now, what would they do? Shut down your Bitcoin wallet? Like they can shut down your mobile phone or your bank account. The absence of ability to control leads to the absence of desire to expose yourself to a regulation. As far as things are currently concerned, regulatory impact, severe regulatory impact, such as mere possession of Bitcoin is illegal, is something which is very scary, but I don't see that happening. I see governments saying you cannot call this a currency. But globally, if you see, I think that governments are getting increasingly favorable.
Well, that is a point, yes, but a payment or settlement of payment is something that we haven't seen happen really in a lot of countries there. But Praveen, coming to you on this one, the latest trigger or the conversation around the global markets has been the high transaction or the cost of it. Yeah. That has been a bit of a problem, and we've seen prices actually go into profit-taking because of that as well.
For sure, because as of now, enterprises are still not there on the blockchain. So we are talking about the cost of transaction for person to person, but still that's very minute. If I have to transfer 100 Bitcoin also, still paying a miner 0.01 also doesn't matter for me, right? So the cost that what we are talking about is predominantly based on the blockchain transaction size. So merchants have still not started using the cryptocurrency. So as and when we see that happening, so yes, cost will be a matter. Let's say, for example, Ethereum. Enterprises are building their applications on Ethereum. So if you see prices moving from $800 to $8,000, so that's a higher cost for me to run the business.
The another thing that also has led to decline, of course, is the hacking and the theft part of it. Lately in South Korea and Slovenia's exchanges, how does one keep that away from the kind of investments that you have made? And this doesn't really have an end, because every couple of months we start seeing or hearing those news.
So what we've seen in the space is rapid growth, and a lot of businesses, have started businesses without securing their networks, or maybe low-quality developers or no low-quality technology. The Bitcoin network itself is very secure, but the businesses that operate within this have to create their own wallets and secure their own wallets. And some of them are clearly not doing a very good job. And I think the issue really is the breakneck speed at which the marketplace is growing. The businesses are not able to keep up pace with the rapid speed of development.
I want to give you an important statistic on what he said.
Yeah.
So if you look at Indian exchanges, they pay Unocoin, Coinsecure, Wellfrix, what have you, the buying as well as selling price in India used to be significantly higher, 3 to 30% higher than, let's say, the price in the US.
Sure.
Yesterday was the first day, or today also, where the buying as well as selling price in India fell below the US price, right? Now, what does this indicate? This indicates that when we were going up, people were unthinkingly buying, as in it was just this magic thing to buy, and when it is coming down, the same thing is happening, right? So I think that people who wrongly assume that this is a magic asset class which only can go one way should have learned the lesson today. I didn't sell when it was 16, 20,000 or whatever, because I was waiting for event triggers, not price trigger, but I was ready to buy today.
All right. It has been a magic asset class, no denying that. But gentlemen, we will have to take a break at this note. What we really have established until now, that yes, it has been a magic asset class. There are some concerns, the regulatory part of it as well. But when we come back from this very short break, we'll tell you that Indian markets, where they stand, and of course on how we are looking to trade into this as well. But before that, let's listen into Geeta Gopinath, Professor of Economics at Harvard, and Morris, Chief Economist at the IMF as well, giving their take on Bitcoins.
There is the technology that goes behind Bitcoin, which the financial world is very excited about. But besides that, it comes close to gambling when you bet on the Bitcoin. I do not believe it will be, I'm making a prediction, it will ever be a medium of exchange like the way the rupee is or the dollar is or currencies in the world are. I do not see how that's going to happen, because the minute there's a real threat of that, regulation will step in.
Bitcoin is an area where there is nothing that fundamentally ties down the value of this asset. And that always creates a risk. There's been a lot of interest because it's gone up a lot recently. But that ascent can't clearly continue forever. And when people realize that, we don't know what happens to the value. So, you know, I tend to think that some people are going to make money, some people are going to lose money. I don't see it as a major threat at this moment.